This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. At the opening of the legal year, the Chief Justice says attacks on the courts are unhelpful. Sir Ian Winder says there are many reasons for trial delays. Bar Association President raising hot-button issues in his judicial address. And we learned the government has committed $17 million to settle outstanding disputes. Plus a former cabinet minister questioned by police. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, January 12th, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we are taking a look at the auto industry of the country, the year that was 2022, and what the new year is forecast to have in store for new car dealers. That's all straight ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, while acknowledging that criminal trials are now taking longer than they used to, Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder dismissing attacks on the judiciary, adding that there are many reasons beyond the control of judges that lead to the delays plaguing the court system. Sir Ian, speaking during the opening of the legal year, which was held at the Point in downtown Nassau because the Supreme Court building is under renovations. He said it was unhelpful to attack the judiciary and suggested the courts are responsible for all that ails the criminal justice system, or that they're not completing trials. He said, quote, "Not only is the suggestion wholly inaccurate, it ignores the known realities in the criminal courts and in our country." Chief Justice said a considerable amount of nollies have been entered by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, especially last year. He says most of these have been entered after trials had begun or on the morning when a trial was to commence, often causing considerable loss of court days. He added that judges, quote, "do not live in ivory towers or hold cloistered views of the country in which we live. We attend the same stores, churches, and public places, and every member of the society. Our children and our families live in this society, and we love this country as much as everyone else does. We want our communities to be safe and crime to be at an irreducible minimum. We take very seriously the oaths that we have taken to uphold the law. We do not make the laws, we merely interpret and apply them." Sir Ian advocating for a cooperative approach previously encouraged by retired Chief Justice Dame Joan Sawyer. He said the appropriate solution is for the cooperative approach to the challenges and to find innovative measures to improve the criminal justice process. Meanwhile, Minister of State for Legal Affairs Jomo Campbell says the government has committed $17 million toward the settlement of cases. He said in an effort to ensure that justice is done in an effective and efficient manner, the Office of the Attorney General determines to settle cases where the facts and law support settlement and to remove unnecessary disputes from the court's calendar. And Bahamas Bar Association President Khalil Parker, KC, using his address at the opening of the legal year to demand transparency through the full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act. Parker also called for action on eliminating discrimination in the areas of citizenship and addressed the controversial marital rape issue. He said the Bar Association has consistently urged and demanded a public commitment to transparency. On the issue of citizenship, the Nassau Guardian recently reported that the Privy Council is set to hear arguments this month on whether children born out of wedlock to unmarried foreign women and Bahamian men are entitled to Bahamian citizenship. The government has appealed the 2020 ruling by now Chief Justice Ian Winder, who ruled that a person born in the Bahamas is entitled to citizenship at birth pursuant to Article 6 of the Constitution if either of their biological parents hold citizenship irrespective of their parents' marital status. In other news, former Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Lanisha Roll, and her husband being questioned by police. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez confirming this yesterday, though he declined to state what they were being questioned for. He spoke yesterday on the sidelines of the opening of the legal year, confirming that they are being questioned. He said, quote, they came into custody yesterday, which was Tuesday. They were released last night to return this morning. So at this hour, I believe they are still speaking to investigators at this time. That's what he said yesterday. Asked what Roll and her husband were being questioned about, Fernandez saying that he couldn't say exactly what it was, but that the media should know as it was circulating in the media. Last November, following reports that police were investigating her, Roll said, quote, justice will prevail. She also said, quote, I stand by my record that as minister, as far as I am aware, all proper procedures were followed as far as I was aware as minister. Overseas, from Brazil, Brazilian authorities Wednesday sparing no effort to boost security in the face of a social media flyer promoting a mega protest to retake power in 24 cities. Whether because of preventative measures adopted or not, the supposed uprising was a dud, though. Fewer than 10 protesters showed along Rio de Janeiro's Copacabana beach. There were more journalists in attendance than protesters, plus 29 police vehicles. On Brasilia's Esplanade, surrounded by federal government buildings, authorities had designated an area for protest and stationed police and National Guard troops there. Just one couple showed, dressed in the same Brazil soccer jerseys that thousands of rioters wore 4 days earlier. Speaking to journalists in Brasilia earlier, the federal appointee who has assumed control of the capital's security said police were shutting down the main avenue to traffic, limiting pedestrian access with barricades, and blocking all access to the square that was the site of Sunday's mayhem. It's a different story in Peru. Protests against Peruvian President Dina Boluarte's government have left 48 people dead since they began a month ago and have spread through the south of the Andean country. With new clashes reported in tourist areas, health officials say in the city of Cusco, 37 civilians and 6 police officers were injured after protesters tried to take over the city's airport, where many foreign tourists arrived to see sights, including the nearby Incan citadel of Machu Picchu. Protesters and road blockades against Boluarte and in support of ousted President Pedro Castillo were also seen in 41 provinces, mainly in the country's south. The unrest began in early December following the destitution and arrest of Castillo, Peru's first president of humble rural roots. following his widely condemned attempt to dissolve Congress and head off his own impeachment. The protests, mainly in neglected rural areas of the country still loyal to Castillo, are seeking immediate elections and Boluarte's resignation, plus Castillo's release and justice for the protesters killed in clashes with police. Some of the worst violence occurred on Monday when 17 people were killed in clashes with police, and protesters later attacked and burned a police officer to death. In sports, the Bahamas celebrating Majority Rule Day Tuesday, but it was no day off for Bahamian collegiate basketball player Sammy Hunter as he was in action for the University of Akron Zips. Hunter had a career-high 19 points, helping the Zips record its first road win of the season. The Zips taking care of the Bowling Green University Falcons 74-70 in Bowling Green, Ohio. For the season, the Zips have a 10-6 win-loss record and are 2-1 in the Mid-Atlantic Conference. The Falcons are 8-8. And make it 10 straight wins for Bahamian professional basketball player Tavario Miller and Shizuko Valtex as they took care of the Gifu Swoops on Sunday. In Japan, the win pushed their win-loss record to 24-2 on the season, and they stayed on top of the table in the Japanese B3 League. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NBA, the numbers that the Celtics stars Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been putting up this season point to a duo playing even better than last season when Boston reached the NBA Finals. Brown believes there's another level they can reach. Their latest performance might have been a peak of that next plateau, as in a peek, a look into it. Brown scoring a season-high 41 points and had 12 rebounds, and the Celtics won their fourth straight game, holding off the New Orleans Pelicans 125-114. Tatum added 31 points and 10 rebounds. It was the fifth career 40-point game for Brown. It was the 10th time in their careers that Brown and Tatum have combined for 70 or more points. And from the NFL, Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has not been cleared to return to football activities and was ruled out for Sunday's playoff game against the Buffalo Bills. He remains in the NFL's concussion protocol, according to coach Mike McDaniel. The Dolphins are preparing for rookie Skylar Thompson to be their starter when they face the Bills for the third time this season. Backup Teddy Bridgewater is working his way back to full strength after dislocating his pinky finger. McDaniel says he doesn't know if Tua would be able to travel with the team this weekend either, although he has not had any setbacks in the healing process. But there are compounding variables, we're told, at play that will keep him off the field indefinitely. And the prayers for DeMar have been answered. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin is finally home 9 days after he stunned and saddened his teammates by going into cardiac arrest and being resuscitated on the field in Cincinnati and placed the NFL on hold. Hamlin released from a Buffalo hospital yesterday. This marks a major step in what doctors have called Hamlin's remarkable recovery, which came 2 days after he was deemed healthy enough to be transferred to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center to the Buffalo General Medical Center. The 24-year-old will continue his rehab with the Bills. The Bills not disclosing the results of tests Hamlin had over the past 2 days in Buffalo to determine the reason his heart stopped after he was struck squarely in the chest by a Bengals receiver while making what appeared to be a routine tackle. Hamlin collapsed during the first quarter of Buffalo's since-canceled game at Cincinnati on January 2nd, a chilling scene that played out in front of millions on television. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by the Strachan Challenge. Here's what's happening today. We've got high pressure that continues to support a gentle to fresh breeze across the islands. Beachgoers should be alert, though, for rip currents in the central and southeast Bahamas. For all areas today, partly sunny and mild with isolated showers, mainly in the central islands. Fair to partly cloudy and cool tonight. Small craft operators in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest Bahamas, becoming northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest, but building to 4 to 7 feet in the central and southeastern islands. Seas higher along Atlantic exposed shorelines. Temperature-wise, off to a warmer start than we were yesterday. We are currently at about 66 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Look for highs getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to a cool 59 Fahrenheit, 15 Celsius. What's in store for this weekend? And that big cold front we've been telling you about, we'll have the details coming up in your extended outlook after traffic in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by the Strachan Challenge. It's time again to claw through mud, wade through water, climb a rope, and vault the 9-foot wall in the Strachan Challenge, January 28th at Clifton Heritage Park. Sign up today at strachanchirin.com. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on that wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send picture direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas. Then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
The new Guardian Radio app is here. Listen live to all our Guardian Radio shows and live video stream select programs in our studio. Get information about Guardian Radio shows and our hosts. Send messages, including text, email, and even call. All from our amazing new Guardian Radio app. Download it free today in your App Store for your Apple device or Play Store for your Android device. The all-new and improved Guardian Radio app.
Is your 2023 goal to move into your own home? Well, future homeowner, enjoy another payday. Build or buy a home with financing from CIBC First Caribbean, and you'll receive cash back every month for 1 year. A home is one of your greatest investments, so secure one soon. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/homeowners payday for more info. Offer valid from January 9 through to March 31, 2023. Terms and conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne. Good morning, Laverne.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
Wonderful. Great to have you with us as always.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah. I feel
on
like
this little kind of chilly Thursday morning.
Yeah, it's nice. I feel like I heard you on the radio yesterday. Were you on with me yesterday? I don't remember.
I was not, but you
what?
did hear me on. I was on with Z Live yesterday. That was a lot. That was great. I enjoyed myself.
You were on with Z Live. Interesting.
I was.
That's very interesting. Nice.
I'm sorry, you're muttering again.
No,
What
that's
was that
fine.
you're
It's
saying?
beautiful. It's beautiful. It's nice. That's great. I have to talk with Chicago. But okay. Always a pleasure to have you with us on Morning Blend. But we got a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to get into that. Later in business, we are going to be talking about the state of the auto industry. The last time we talked with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association, things were looking pretty bleak. There were very few new cars on the lots. They no idea when the shortages.
Get any
right.
in. Right. I remember.
Yeah, but things have turned around a bit. There are cars back on the lots now, and we're going to get an update on how things were for 2022 and what things look like for 2023 and beyond. That's coming up. But let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, the big headline relating to the opening of the legal year yesterday, the Chief Justice saying that attacks on the courts are unhelpful, as Sir Ian Winder says there are many reasons for delays. We're going to get into that. That's a big story. And many of the things we heard yesterday, big stories. But there is another big story that has people wondering what's going on. This one, Lanisha Roll, you remember her? And her husband being questioned by police. There were some rumors a couple of days ago, but the Commissioner of Police confirming this yesterday. Travis Cartwright-Carroll writing about it. Former Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Lanisha Roll, and her husband being questioned by police yesterday, according to Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander. He confirmed this, though he declined to state what they were being questioned for. While speaking on the sidelines of the opening of the legal year yesterday, he said that they came into custody on Tuesday and that they were released that night, and that they were supposed to come back in the morning, which was yesterday morning. Now, he was asked, of course, what Roll and her husband were being questioned about, and the commissioner had a very interesting response. He said, quote, "I can't say exactly what the officers put to them, but you know what was circulating in the media." Oh, yeah? They were speaking to them at this time. Okay. Last November, following reports that police were investigating her, Roll said, quote, "Justice will prevail." And she said, quote, "I stand by my record that as minister, as far as I am aware, all proper procedures were followed as far as I was aware as minister." Remember, she resigned from the Minister Cabinet in 2021. She went on to say, quote, "A minister does not know everything in a ministry at any given time. So, to the best of my knowledge, everything as it relates to me, there were protocols, there were persons in places who should have followed protocols, and I believe that they did. Where they did not, whatever investigations or inquiries will reveal whatever process was or was not followed. I certainly believe that in due time, the truth will be exposed. I have resigned from Cabinet from February 23rd, 2021, and since then, we are here today. I recall the last official report, the audit report, disclosed to my information that the accounts of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture were fairly maintained. I did not hear that another audit or any further investigation was going on, and so we are where we are today. That's what she said last November. Mm-hmm. All right, so we will continue to follow that story for you and give you any updates on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. So, opening of the legal year, and all the lawyers and judges, everybody out in their wigs and robes.
The wigs, Dwight, the wigs.
A sea of wigs.
Will we ever?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
They don't even do that in the UK anymore.
Not even. But hey. Well, anyway, so yes, lots. We're hearing from the Chief Justice. We heard from the Minister of State for Legal Affairs. We heard from the Bar Association President. Lots of issues brought up. Take a listen to this report from our Jared Higgs.
The official opening of the legal year got underway earlier this afternoon, following a mass at Christ Church Cathedral. Due to the ongoing renovations to the main Supreme Court building, the opening itself took place at the Compass Ballroom at the Point in the Margaritaville Hotel. Addressing members of the judiciary, Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder responded to criticism that criminal trials are taking too long and thus adding to a backlog of already at a crisis level. Last June, Minister of National Security Wayne Munro told reporters he thought judges could be more proactive in adjudicating cases in order to reduce the backlog. Mill Winder said the COVID pandemic had a major impact on the criminal courts. He added that better informed defendants and more extensive evidence also means longer trials.
Now, I happen to agree with the complaint that criminal trials are taking a lot longer than they used to. And I readily accept that good management of the trial by a judge can lead to a more efficient criminal trial. But there are many other reasons why the criminal trial process has lengthened over time, which have nothing to do with the management of the trial by the judge. These include greater access to information, which has created a defendant who is more informed of his rights in the legal system, the extension of legal aid assistance to unrepresented persons to include virtually all indictable offenses, the advent of stenographers permitting a microscope to be placed on the evidence in real time as it evolves, the greater use of records of interviews and videotape interviews, expanding the witnesses to a defendant in a voir dire, newer types of evidence involving technology as well as forensics, leading to greater challenges as to admissibility, greater instances of challenges to confession statements, and simply the development in the law over time.
Meanwhile, also addressing the legal community was President of the Bahamas Bar Association, Khalil Parker, KC. He says full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act is a must.
Full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act is no longer merely an aspiration. Instead, it represents the bare minimum required to demonstrate a true commitment to transparency and delivering to the Bahamian people the meaningful right to scrutiny they deserve.
Parker was also clear on the bar's position as it relates to children born to a Bahamian parent.
We also welcome the government's commitment to addressing the long-standing and vexing issue of the discriminatory and arbitrary treatment of the children of Bahamians and their access to Bahamian citizenship, which is their birthright.
Parker also affirmed the bar's position on the controversial issue of marital rape.
And for the avoidance of any doubt, there is no place for rape in either Bahamian society or marriages.
Meanwhile, Minister of State for Legal Affairs Jomo Campbell addressed the judiciary in place of Attorney General Ryan Pinder. Campbell said government would push an aggressive legislative agenda in 2023, including the presentation of regulations for medical cannabis. In other news,
Okay, our Jared Higgs with that report there. All right, so a lot of issues touched on there. We're going to get to as many of those as possible. I do want to go back to what the Chief Justice was saying. There's some interesting things that he said, and then we can get to what Khalil Parker was saying and to what Jomo Campbell was saying as well. So, the Chief Justice, Ian Winder, Sir Ian, saying that No, given you heard some of the reasons why, and those sounded like pretty good reasons, and that sounds like a fairer
those were
process,
acceptable.
right? Those aren't the ones that people attack, and I'm putting that in quotation marks, attack the judiciary over, right? And I think he mentioned some of the others as well. But let's go through this. This is in the paper today by our Candia Dames, and the Chief Justice said a considerable amount of nollies have been entered by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in 2022. So this is another one of the reasons, right? Most of these have been entered after trials had begun or on the morning when a trial was to commence, often causing considerable loss of court days. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, right? He said, quote, judges do not live in ivory towers or hold cloistered views of the country in which we live. We attend the same stores, churches, and public places as every member of the society. Our children and our families live in this society, and we love this country as much as everyone else does. We want our communities to be safe and crime to be at an irreducible minimum. We take very seriously the oaths that we have taken to uphold the law. We do not make the laws, we merely interpret and apply them. The rules of engagement to prosecute and defend criminal matters have not changed. The prosecution is aware of what it takes to secure a conviction or to convince a judge that bail is not appropriate in a given circumstance. Throwing it back on some other people. Yeah. Sir Ian advocated the cooperative approach previously encouraged by retired Chief Justice Dame Joan Sawyer. He said, quote, the appropriate solution, as Dame Joan reminds us, is for a cooperative approach to these challenges and together find innovative measures to improve the criminal justice process. He said he accepts that good management of a trial by a judge can lead to a more efficient criminal trial, but then he gave those other reasons why it's getting longer to get through these cases. He said, quote, we must find ways to counter this decrease in the speed at which criminal trials can be concluded without affecting its fairness. I've asked the question as to why can't the law provide for binding evidentiary hearings and voir dires to take place outside of the formal trial process. This would obviate the need for a jury to be empaneled, especially in circumstances where the determination of the issue may decide the entire action. At the very least, it shortens the length of a jury empaneled trial. That in 2016, you remember this, Sir Hartman Longley, then Chief Justice, in his 2016 address to the opening of the legal year, called for the abolition of the jury system. This echoed an earlier call by former Chief Justice Sir Burton Hall in December 2011 at a lecture hosted by Eugene DePuch Law School. Sir Ian saying, quote, avoiding that debate surrounding the need for a constitutional amendment to remove juries, why can't an accused be given the option of a judge-alone trial? The incentive may be an earlier trial date. Okay, this is very interesting, right? If just 1 or 2 of every 10 accused persons selects this option, that will be 1 or 2 trials that will not require jurors and almost guaranteed to take half as long. Why are 90% of our cases going to trial when 90% of cases in other jurisdictions are pleaded out? All stakeholders must meaningfully engage to interpret proper alternate dispute resolution. Admittedly, this may require the courts to create sentencing guidelines to provide a level of certainty in the negotiation process. The bottom line is that all of these cases will not be tried by the usual formal means, and resort to the court process should be reserved for those cases which must go to trial. All right, this is great stuff here. Let us talk about that. What's your view on that? You know,
I agree.
You're entitled to a trial by a jury of your peers, but
in some instances, I don't think, and again, as he was saying, Justice Winder was saying, give them the option.
Mm-hmm.
Because, not everybody is going to choose that option. But as he said, if 2 chooses that option, that helps the process. Does everything need to go before the courts in the form of a trial? Can't lawyers on opposing sides meet, as he said, with clear guidelines to maybe do a plea deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although
all of this will help.
Some of those last year, what was agreed to left a lot to be desired. Like, really?
Very true.
Is this punishment at all? What are you getting here? Are you getting? But yeah, certainly that would help with some other big issues. Definitely. So let's hear what you have to say about it. Give us a call. 325-4316. I think that's still our only working BTC line there. But you can try 323-6232 or 325-4259, but 325-4316, or tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Text us 422-4796. Let's get your view on what he's saying about jury trials and some of the other issues that are causing delays in the system. And did he throw the Department of Public Prosecutions under the bus? These nollies and the stuff that happens on the morning of a trial. And he didn't mention the defense lawyers and some of their shenanigans, but that's a different... Well, anyway, he doesn't need to mention it.
This is really throwing under the bus if you're just bringing to light that there are other extenuating circumstances that cause trial delays or, for lack of a better term, wasting the court's time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. He also said, this is an interesting part, in referencing the criticism of the judiciary of the speed and efficiency of trials. Sir Ian was not referencing anyone in particular, he says. However, some observers are likely to take note of the criticism that the Prime Minister Davis, made last June. Davis telling reporters at the time, quote, "What is astounding to me, in my heyday of practicing law, I used to do murder cases in 3 days." Oh, boy. If a murder trial takes a week, that's a long time. Trials for murders are now taking a month or 2 months. I still can't understand why trials take so long. Well, I think Sir Ian's reasons are very helpful because we shouldn't be taking these so lightly. And that explains why so many people got off for murder back in the day.
3-day murder trial?
My Lord.
Meanwhile, you have defamation cases, and I'm just using this as an example recently, and in the U.S., there was a trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I think that was on my television for
5 years.
Like
5
a
years.
year.
It was forever.
It was forever.
Mm-hmm.
But a murder trial, 3 days?
Boy, oh boy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe if it's cut and dry and the person pleaded guilty, maybe.
Never.
Maybe.
No. When does that happen? They wouldn't need to go to trial. You just go to the sentencing. That doesn't happen. Right? You could plead guilty to murder. Here? What? Why would you do that? Anyway, this person says, this is what the Prime Minister said at the time. He said, judges need to take control of their court and control their court. At the end of the day, they need to get the cases done, finished, and if there's anyone that is aggrieved by any decision, there's another level to go to. That other level is a bit more efficient than the lower level. It's a very vexing issue. My goodness. Okay. Well, anyway, so let's get your comments on it. Here are some of the text messages. Somebody says, trials by time and option and choice. It only makes sense. Yes. I wonder, though, how many people would actually, especially in criminal matters, opt for that. You think people would do that? I would think.
They may. You never know.
I mean, and you won't be able to intimidate the jury and have a cousin there secretly? Wow. Anyway. Okay. This one says here, I hear all the blah, blah, blah from the court, but when rapists and child molesters are virtually not punished, both the legislators and the courts are to blame. People's lives are destroyed while they throw blame around. This person says here, defense lawyers don't control how a case goes. Prosecutors do. I spoke about judge or jury trials from 2012. I hope we can move forward with this now. I don't know who you are, but okay, great to hear that. And another person, this is bad. We all know each other in our small country and are influenced by social media stories and WhatsApp voice notes. I'd rather take my chances with a judge. Well, there you have it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And, to a certain extent, the text is correct. Can we ever find, well, I guess they do, jurors who know nothing about a case?
No.
Didn't hear about it, didn't read about it on social media, especially in the day and age in which we live.
And you know what? Maybe they didn't until they got empaneled, and then everybody's talking, and then they hear it.
Right.
But sure. But we'll see. We'll see. And again, it isn't the first time that this has been suggested, and look where we are. Same place.
Right, but that's what we do here, Dwight. You know that.
My goodness.
But we'll talk about it.
Boy. Call in, folks, 325-4316. 325-4316. All right, so let's get to what the Minister of State for Legal Affairs, Jomo Campbell, had to say yesterday. He said the government has committed $17 million toward the settlement of cases. He said this is being done in an effort to ensure that justice is done in an efficient, effective manner. And the Office of the Attorney General determines to settle cases where the facts and law support settlement and to remove unnecessary disputes from the court's calendar. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but freeing up the calendar, well. Campbell also saying, quote, in an attempt to settle outstanding disputes, the government has committed $17 million toward this effort, and the litigation team is working tirelessly to conclude these matters. Among the matters concluded were the settlement with the now Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernander, and Deputy Commissioner of Police, Lamont Delaveau. Not long.
And what was that amount again?
Did they ever say? They never said. Remember, it was going to be dangerous.
They did not say.
They didn't want to put them in danger.
Money, and they never said. Okay.
Yeah, it was going to likely put them in harm's way. Yes, not told. It was, you don't want to give out that type of money, that information to people. Fernander and Delaveau were among 8 senior police officers forced on leave by the Minister administration in 2019 and later reassigned to areas within the public service. They were sent on leave. It's unclear whether a settlement was reached with Assistant Commissioner of Police Ken Strachan, who also sued the government and whose case was pending at last report. The Office of the Attorney General also reached a confidential settlement with Financial Secretary Simon Wilson, who was sidelined by the Minister administration, which had instructed him to take leave. Wilson was back at the Ministry of Finance after the PLP was reelected in September 2021. And in yet another matter, the government in March reached a settlement with former PLP Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson, who alleged that he was falsely imprisoned and maliciously prosecuted. The government did not reveal the amount of the settlement, but Gibson's lawyer, Anthony McKinney KC, confirmed to the NASA Guardian was for $2.5 million. Well, Campbell says that a cannabis bill will be among the measures brought this year as part of an aggressive legislative agenda. He said the Law Reform and Revision Commission, the drafting section of the Office of the Attorney General, is involved in one of the most aggressive and progressive legislative agendas consistent with the blueprint for change, and that legislation related to carbon credits, reduced VAT exemption of tax by Dorian, and the National Investment Funds were all enacted. He said in 2023, they will continue with an aggressive legislative agenda, which will bring the presentation of the comprehensive regime for the regulation of medical cannabis, legislation to further advance the industrial tribunal for the regulation of aggregate and natural resource mining, and amendments to the legal professions. Okay. So, a lot going on there. Let's hear from you, though. Again, call us, 325-4316. And text in 422-4796. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. This person says here, in our ignorant society, I will take my chances with the judges. Another one saying that as well. Okay. Wow. So this cannabis thing is dragging on. Hey, this is taking forever. I guess it's going to be some very tight legislation.
Yeah. You got to make sure.
Wow. All right. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll get into what Khalil Parker, the president of the Bahamas Bar Association, is saying. And marital rape. That's another issue that's dragging on. It's the same things over and over and over again. What's happening here? Are we living in a...
I think that's intentional, marital rape, but that's just my opinion. Yeah. This dragging is intentional.
I see the Tribune's reporting that Social Services Minister Obi Wilskram says that officials are hoping to have consultations wrapped up in the next several weeks. That's still happening? I mean, what more is there to say?
Have they spoken with the last time it was to speak with the Baptist churches?
Specifically the Baptists. They spoke to all the other denominations. That's what you're saying? Oh, yeah. We are to move with the president of the Bahamas Baptist Missionary Educational Convention. He wanted to meet with us to discuss a few matters with members of his church and leadership. We're waiting for that date. Well, my good Lord. Okay. All right. Well, this is this is some serious stuff. Good Lord. Anyway, let's take that break. When we come back, more on this. This is Morning Blend on a Thursday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We'll be right back. Aren't you feeling like deja vu? Just over and over the same thing? Boy, I tell
same
you.
thing, over and over.
This is insane. All you did was say hello. Speak my name. Feeling your love like a love I used to know long ago. How can it be? You're a different space and time. Come to me. Feel like I'm home in a place I used to know long ago. Could you be the dream that
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
7:44, time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. RBC's mortgage specialists can provide helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. In your real-time traffic this morning, at this hour, we're seeing some heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway as usual. That's your usual hotspot. And that's from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to the Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway roundabout in the northbound lanes this morning. Traffic is building up Fire Trail eastbound to that roundabout as well. Just north of Fire Trail, see that heavy traffic in front of you all the way up to JFK Drive northbound. Further south on Milo Butler Highway, well, it's Carmichael Road where you're seeing the issues as you approach the junction of Milo Butler Highway and Carmichael. That's eastbound, and further east as you get to Faith Avenue, that area is looking congested for you. Westbound on Carmichael also seeing some congestion heading toward Coral Harbor Road. In eastern New Providence, we've got Prince Charles Drive, especially as you approach Beatrice Avenue, and Robbins Road between Soldier and Old Trail. Bernard Road westbound also busy, and Eastern Road westbound just west of Fox Hill. Heavy traffic up to Johnson Road. Those are your hotspots for now. We'll have another real-time report for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist. And time for another check of your weather, brought to you by John West Shoes. We've got high pressure that continues to support a gentle breeze across the Bahamas. Beachgoers should be alert for possible rip currents in the central and southeastern islands. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny and mild conditions with isolated showers, mainly in the central Bahamas. Fair to partly cloudy and cool tonight. Small craft operators in the central and southeastern islands should exercise caution. Temperatures getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. But look for lows tonight to get down to a cool 59 Fahrenheit, 15 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the weekend will begin with unsettled weather Winds gusting to near gale force and building rough and hazardous seas as a prefrontal trough followed by a strong cold front will trek southeastwards through the Bahamas beginning Friday into Saturday. So partly cloudy to overcast and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Then Saturday, mostly sunny, cool, and windy in the northwest Bahamas. Cloudy and windy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the central and southeast Bahamas along the front as the front moves through. That's your morning blend weather check. Brought to you by John West Shoes. Nassau, John West is here to put shoes on your feet. They've got your family's feet covered for every occasion. Check out the variety of women's sandals and slippers, heels and working shoes, men's sneakers and safety boots. And kids, don't forget to check out the boys' boat shoes, girls' sandals, and school shoes. John West Shoes now open in the Carmichael City Shopping Center behind Wendy's. Give them a call, 820-9715. Let John West put shoes on your feet.
Whether you're alone or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Do all of your banking with Fidelity. Quality service is what they give to you and me. A strong is waiting to serve you. Come and bank with Fidelity too. Come do all of your banking with Fidelity. Quality service is what they give to you and me. A strong management team is waiting to serve you. So bank with Fidelity, we're good for you.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send picture direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas. Then pick install and we'll go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the family.
2023 goal to move into your own home? Well, future homeowner, enjoy another payday. Build or buy a home with financing from CIBC First Caribbean, and you'll receive cash back every month for 1 year. A home is one of your greatest investments. Secure one soon. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/homeowners payday for more info. Offer valid from January 9 through to March 31, 2023. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now, Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Fidelity is concerned about your financial health as much as we're concerned about your physical health. We have free online banking, helpful management staff. Come and start your relationship today. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Car ride to Malibu, strawberry ice cream, 1 spoon for 2 and trading jackets, laughing about how small it looks on you. Watching reruns of Glee, being annoying, singing in harmony. I bet she's bragging to all her friends, saying you're so unique. So when you're gonna tell her that we did that show, but it's all reused, that was our place, I found it first, I made the jokes you tell to her when she's with you. Do you get deja vu when she's with you?
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. Just I'm hoping 2023, optimistic. Are you still optimistic, Laverne? It could be different this year. Could be finally things change.
Always
finally.
optimistic. I'm always optimistic. I am.
Yeah.
You're not?
Well, some things. Optimistic that things will stay the same. Does that count, though?
You know it doesn't, right?
Well, I like to be surprised, though. I really do. So I am hoping to be surprised.
You're cautiously optimistic.
Well, no, not even. I like.
Oh, wow.
I just can't wait to be surprised. Like, wow, they did it. Wow, love it. I love it. Love it. But yeah. Okay. Call in 325-4316 and tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. All right, so here's a text. What a time. Even the court got issues. What do you mean even? They've been having issues.
Right. This isn't anything new.
What? Anyway, if the man on East Street say something about the court, he in front of a judge before the end of the day, but they can't get the AG or commissioner to seriously address body cameras or CCTV or police abuse or disclosures or these procurement breaches. Well, boy, that's a lot of stuff there, eh?
That's a lot.
And you're absolutely right. They're really saying they can't address anything. All of those are great things that you never hear anybody talk about, right? CCTV, what's going on? What's going on? Body cameras, Yeah, disclosures. Who disclosed? Who didn't? Will we hear from
the deadline was what, the 31st?
Yeah. Let's hear what excuses they have now.
December.
Well, the pandemic is winding down, and so people were out living, and they
don't forget the hurricane of 2019.
Still?
Yeah. Hey.
Well, somebody
that
would
was
try
a
it.
catastrophic event.
Somebody would try
that
it.
can be used.
Right. And then they got so caught up worried about FTX, they just couldn't find the time to disclose. There's just like so much going on. Got to give them a break. Boy. Anyway, this text here: the Chief Justice nor the President of the Bar Association said anything about the defense attorneys as they hold up cases by appearing in different courts at the same time. The Minister of State just wanted to say something. The Prime Minister already said what the agenda would be, and it did not include anything he said. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I mean, you got to be careful with your crowd. They're sitting right in front of you with all their wigs on. You can't really say, y'all are the problem. All right, that wouldn't be. You don't want to get booed.
How does it go, Dwight? You just
you with your nice wigs on. You know what you've done to cause problems here. Boy. Yeah, man. Optimistic.
Oh, sorry, correction. Thank you. I see a correction here. The deadline for each year is March 31st of the next year. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, my,
That was always the case? It doesn't matter.
No,
It doesn't matter.
I'm
Do they
being
make it?
reliably informed.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Did they move that? Anyway. But what does it matter? Did they meet the last one? They didn't. But they never do. Never do. I tell you. Okay, so when we come back after the news, we'll get to what the Bar Association president is saying and those hot button issues that we're still talking about. It's a whole other year, and we're still trying to consult on marital rape. My goodness gracious, what is happening? How are we here again still? And citizenship issues, all of these same things with the deja vu over and over and over again. This is the Bahamas, and this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Watching reruns of Glee, being annoying, singing in harmony. I bet she's bragging to all her friends, saying you're so unique. So when you're gonna tell her that we did that too? She thinks it's special, but it's all reused.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And now at 8:18, time for another check of your weather for today. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got some big changes coming, but right now high pressure continues to support a gentle to fresh breeze across the islands. Beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas, though, should be alert for possible rip currents. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny and mild conditions with isolated showers mainly in the central Bahamas. Fair to partly cloudy and cool tonight. Small craft operators in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution. Currently in Nassau, it's about 71 degrees under fair skies. We're looking at highs getting up to 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight dropping off to about 59 Fahrenheit, 15 Celsius. Changes are coming again with unsettled weather. Winds gusting to near gale force and building rough and hazardous seas as a prefrontal trough followed by a strong cold front will trek southeastwards through the Bahamas beginning tomorrow through Saturday. So, your greatest chance for rain comes tomorrow, Friday. Partly cloudy to overcast and breezy conditions with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong at times tomorrow. Then by Saturday, the cool temperatures are ushered in. Mostly sunny, cool and windy in the northwest Bahamas. Cloudy and windy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the central Bahamas along and ahead of the front. Partly cloudy with isolated showers in the southeast Bahamas. Saturday could be the coldest weather we've seen in a long time, struggling to get into the 70s for highs and lows in the 50s on Saturday. More on that tomorrow, but that is your morning blend weather check. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the Bahamas' first general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. RBC's mortgage specialists can provide helpful solutions to help your dream home become a reality. In your real-time traffic this morning, got a number of hot spots to tell you about. As usual, Milo Butler Highway. Heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to the Tonique-Williams-Darling Highway roundabout. That's the northbound lanes there. And traffic is backed up along Fire Trail, eastbound to Milo Butler Highway. Gladstone Road also busy for you just north of Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive. Carmichael Road, Coral Harbor Road, and eastbound to Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill Road's busy for you near St. Vincent Road, near Carmichael, and just north of Soldier Road all the way up to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Through that roundabout, as you head northbound to Cordo Avenue, you're going to see that heavy traffic there as well. Independence Drive, heavy traffic westbound to the roundabout with Blue Hill Road. You might want to avoid that area if you can. Robinson might be a better alternate route for you, but again, if you have to head northbound, you're going to see that traffic right in front of you on Blue Hill Road. Soldier Road near East Street, also congested. That intersection looking busy for you. And in eastern New Providence, you've got Eastern Road from just east of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road. And Bernard Road westbound, especially near the schools in the area, and Prince Charles Drive near Beatrice Avenue straight through to Robinson Road just west of Soldier. You're going to be seeing issues there. Back west, we've got the six-legged roundabout, multiple directions, especially northbound, approaching the roundabout on Mile Butler Highway, eastbound on JFK Drive, and even southbound on New Providence Highway. Further north, New Providence Highway at Saunders Beach, the roundabout with West Bay, heavy traffic near that area, and heading east towards Arawaki and into downtown. Those are your hot spots for now. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
Whether you're looking for your first or new home or even using your existing home as equity, RBC understands that your journey to home ownership is unique and your mortgage financing should reflect that. That is why at RBC we have dedicated mortgage specialists that provide sound advice and helpful solutions to make your dream home a reality. Best of all, the RBC mortgage team is mobile, flexible, and will meet you almost anywhere. Visit rbc.com/take 60 seconds to connect with an RBC mortgage specialist.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Precious kisses, words that burn me, and others never ask you why. In my heart, fire's burning. Choose my color, find a star. Precious people always tell me that's a step too far. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Do you really want to hurt me?
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. And we are talking about what's in the news. The opening of the legal year yesterday, getting a reaction to what we heard about the issues and what folks are hoping will be done over the next year or so. And so, yeah. At 325-4316. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. All right, so you heard the report earlier. The Bar Association President, Khalil Parker, KC, he called for transparency through the full implementation of Freedom of Information, the Freedom of Information Act. They're still there, folks. Parker also calling for action on eliminating discrimination in the area of citizenship and address the controversial marital rape issue. He said, quote, the Bahamas Bar Association has consistently urged and demanded a public commitment to transparency. Full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act is no longer merely an aspiration. Instead, it represents the bare minimum required to demonstrate a true commitment to transparency and delivering to the Bahamian people the meaningful right to scrutiny they deserve. We also welcome the government's commitment to addressing the long-standing and vexing issue of the discriminatory and arbitrary treatment of the children of Bahamians and their access to Bahamian citizenship, which is their birthright, and for the avoidance of any doubt that there is no place for rape in either Bahamian society or marriages. Yeah. All of the legal year, Parker seemed to reference the collapse of Bahamas-based FTX, which has brought into scrutiny the country's judicial and regulatory environments. He said, quote, recent events have highlighted the fact that our continued national advance on the global stage places increased scrutiny on the integrity and efficacy of our public institutions and constitutional infrastructure. It is imperative that we fix the proverbial roof while the sun is shining, as the damage done by being unprepared is not only potentially devastating domestically, but can become fodder for international pundits and commentators instantaneously. The capacity and integrity of our judicial system is as critical to safeguarding the rights, hopes, and aspirations of the Bahamian people as it is to our efforts to expand and develop our economy. Regard for the rule of law and proper administration of justice is integral to every aspect of public and private endeavor, and it is the fundamental safeguard against corruption. All right, some heavy words there. Yeah, absolutely. From Khalil Parker, KC. All right, let's get your reaction to it. Many of these other things he's been calling, the Bar Association has been calling for it, and many others have been calling it.
He has said nothing new in terms of what he has pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we just keep talking about this.
Yeah.
It just goes through the cycle. It's this time now. You know, we've been talking about freedom of information. You've been and that's why I said, that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the point of talking, and it seems as if we stall out.
Yeah. And with the marital rape issue, as we said before the break, the Tribune's reporting that Obi Wilshcombe, the social services minister, says that they're hoping to have consultations wrapped up regarding marital rape legislation in the next several weeks. The minister giving an update to reporters on the consultation and the marital rape legislation outside Parliament yesterday. He said, quote, we're still waiting. We haven't completed it yet. We are to move with the president of the Bahamas Baptist Missionary Educational Convention. He wanted to meet with us to discuss a few matters and with members of his church and leadership were waiting for that date. Well, boy, we're hoping to have it done.
What do you mean they're waiting for? They're waiting for the Baptists?
Yeah, to give them a date, to give the government a date.
Rather than them saying, listen,
this is when we are free.
To bed.
Exactly.
Right. And so
meet with us now or
dates,
or else.
Here are the 2 dates that are available.
I don't understand what's going on. But okay, who's really running the show here? But anyway, Wilskam says, quote, we're hoping to have it done very shortly because in March we intend to have a National Women's Convention that will coincide with International Women's Day. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay.
And what does he mean? Does that mean that you want to have the laws amended by March?
Yeah.
Is that what he's saying?
Just
or
in time
you
for
want to be done with consultation by March?
No idea what's going on.
Because he should have been done with consultation really.
But okay. Wilskam says, quote, so we want to have some of the things completed by then. Uh-huh. He responded to criticism of the church being over-consulted on the matter. He said, quote, well, we should over-consult the country at all times. Ha! Yeah, we should.
Calling tactic, Dwight.
Huh?
Nothing you've said so far is convincing me otherwise, and this is nothing more than just stalling tactics.
We should over-consult the country at all times. It doesn't matter whether it's a church or the behaving people. It seems to matter. It does seem to matter. It's always best to do it right the first time, so you won't have to come back and do it again. If we can cause for greater dialogue in our country, I believe that more would be had in our country in a positive way. Oh, what more dialogue? Okay. Asked for a timeline on the consultation, Mr. Wilskam said he is hoping over the next several weeks before the end of the month. The West Grand Bahama and Bimini MP also spoke about the increases in child neglect and abandonment. According to data released by the Ministry of Social Services, there were 240 new reported cases of child abuse, neglect, and abandonment documented between January and October of last year. He commented on the recent reports of a sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl and work to protect children as well as strengthening laws. He says, quote, we do have an issue. We've seen an increase in the number of abandonment. We have an increase in the number of neglect cases, whether it's verbal, whether it's abuse or sexual. We've seen a number of increases over the last several months, particularly as we saw the prices, inflation increase. The levels of poverty are obviously reflective, and they've been high levels of depression in our country as well. We believe that relates to a number of the issues that we're seeing. What we want to do is begin a very massive educational campaign to move people away from negativity. Whoa, okay. Well, that's interesting. A campaign to end negativity. Huh. Okay, well, what will that entail? That's what you need a massive campaign over?
Yes. Too many negative people out there, Dwight.
What are they going to do? Get that guy off the air on Guardian Radio in the mornings. He's far too negative. 3-2. Yeah.
They're going to start with you. I want you to know that.
It's the end. The end is coming. We'll get that done before the marital rate. 225-4316. Text us 422-4796. They went a massive campaign to end negativity. What the heck? You know, I've said it before. We do need to increase happy images. I don't know if that's along the same lines, but a massive campaign to end it. Okay, well, I hear you. I don't think it's not needed. But there's some other things that probably need to be addressed before. But let's get your reaction to all of this. Again, what the bar says.
Nothing wrong with having a positive outlook.
Sure, especially when there are things to be positive about. That part is the issue, though. But okay. So let's get your reaction to this, and also what you heard from Khalil Parker, the Bar Association president, what he's saying. Once again, how many years has it been calling for the full implementation of FOIA and once and for all deal with the marital rape issue and the citizenship
Where
issue.
are we? I'm sorry, Dwight. Where are we with FOIA? Like, where?
The last thing we heard was that they're doing testing in agencies, ministries, so they know how to do it if there are requests and that kind of stuff. But that's the little bit of information we have. Boy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Call in 325-4316 or text us 422-4796. All right. Some of your text messages here. Why is this coming in today? What is this all about? Really? Okay. It's about Dame Marguerite. I don't understand. Today, what are they hearing? Are they on a 24-hour delay? Mrs. Pinling reminds me of the Queen. She's gracious and very humble. She deserves respect to the highest. Mr. Mitchell is arrogant. He needs to apologize to her publicly. There's no more like her and never will be. And you need to respect that, Mr. Mitchell. Okay. All right. Well, this text here, with this questioning of Lanisha Roll and the upcoming trial of Adrian Gibson, we need a public symposium that all MPs and PSs are required to attend. A justice and the police legal division head should give a review of the law, their parliamentary responsibilities, and specific examples of what is illegal and unethical, and what therefore should be strictly prohibited. Abuse of power should be defined. The public gets to hear what they're told so everybody understands. Yeah, that should be going on all the time. That should be going on all the time, without a doubt. These are very random text messages today. What's happening? Dwight, the COVID virus has not left us yet. It's still here, so please wear your masks. Okay.
Okay, that was just a help.
Good information.
You know, there has been an uptick in cases, Dwight. So thank you, Texter.
Yes.
They're looking out for you, Dwight.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This person says a campaign against negativity is needed. Every day and night, the top 3 stories in the news are about crime. Well, there's a lot of crime. It's a lot of crime. Caller, good morning. What say you?
Morning, Brother Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Madam Gardner, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I want to wish you, your family, very, very healthy new year. I'm not going to say finance, which the country is running after, economics, but God, grace, and good health. Likewise to you, Dwight. Though you have assaulted me many times last year, but I will continue to pray so you can open up your spiritual eyes, which I think is blinded. I want to salute the minister, my good friend, Minister Obi Richcomb, and not mingling in this marital rape issue. I salute him for allowing the spiritual body to deal with this. This is a spiritual matter. If I remember right, the minister have never been married. I can't remember. And it seems like folks...
What does that have to do with anything?
Listen to me. And that's why you need a spiritual eye to understand. There's a force in the world is trying to replace the traditional family. And in alternative lifestyle is setting the stage. And now they want to mingle with a spiritual entity called family, the traditional family. The secular mind cannot understand the traditional family means it's an ordination from God. And we have this liberal have more to say about the traditional family than persons who have been married. You do the database. More folks who never had a family, who don't know what a family is.
How does one not ever have a family?
Who never was married to have a family.
Okay.
Have more to say worldwide on the issue of persons who have been married. So I support my friend. Stay out of this. Let the spiritual body handle this. This is an assault own the family.
All right. So by this logic, men shouldn't have anything to say about abortion. Only women should talk about it, right?
Listen to me.
Do you agree with that?
I call to make my issue on losing
I'm just
my
asking
brother.
you. Just asking if you think
My brother,
that
you will not.
since
You will
that
not.
is a woman's body, that only women should talk about
You
it.
will understand, my
Because
brother.
I don't. That's a very dangerous road that you're going, and you
My
keep
brother,
doing this.
I could, like I said, you need a spiritual light to understand what's going on.
Well, I guess. Well, pray for me, as you say. But that's what we're saying. So only women should talk about women's issues. Married people should talk about married people's issues. The minister needs to hush his mouth because he's never been married. And only married people should talk. Okay, all right. And so are you also believing that married women can't be raped by their husbands? That's not possible at all. No. Okay. Ever. Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah, boy. Anyway, this text here with the consultation, verbal gymnastics. Marital rape will cost them votes, though. Whoa, boy. Okay. This is Laverne. You don't have anything to say about that just now? No.
I have too much to say.
Oh, no, let it out. Let it out.
I have too much to say.
You're a married person. I just need to hush my mouth.
Bother myself.
Only you should talk on this. What say you on this as a married woman? How many years now?
It'll be 29 in
Wow,
April.
that's amazing. That's pretty
29
cool.
in April.
So, yeah. We're
And,
waiting.
you know, our refusal to see... our refusal to see that this is not an attack on marriage, but that violent acts, abuse takes place within marriage. And no spouse has the right to abuse, sexually or otherwise, their spouse. You do not have that right. And if you, let's go to the Bible, if you love your spouse, specifically your wife, the way that Christ loved the church and gave himself for the church, how can you then justify forcing yourself on your spouse? We talk about Christianity, and the ultimate with Christianity, the basis of it is to accept salvation, which is a free gift that is not forced on you. But you can force a sexual act on your spouse. But the ultimate salvation is not forced on you. That is something that you do by choice. But when you get married, like, why, if you love this person, you're committed to this person, would you want to visit violence upon them? Would you want to force yourself upon them? How are you able to justify that? Like, this is a human thing. We can tie it up in spirituality as much as we want. And come for me, please. Come for me with this. We can tie this up in spirituality as much as we want, but at the basis of it is the way that, in this particular case, more likely than not, men view their wives.
Yeah.
Don't tell me she doesn't have the right to say no. It's about you as an individual. And you're protective of them. And you're protective of the institution that you and her are part of. Why would you want to force yourself upon her? Or why would you want to say that she does not have the right of refusal?
Absolutely.
Let's move on. Because really...
Well, I don't know. This is just consulting, so it's going to be many more months of this. Many more months of this.
And I disagree. The church should not be leading this. If we consult the church, yes. But I don't... And I'm a part of the church. Okay? But we need to make a decision.
Yeah.
And every 2 days, figuring out somebody else that we need to talk to, we're never going to get there. We'll stay in consultation. You know what I mean?
Oh,
There's
that's what
always
we've been
somebody
doing.
else to consult.
That's what we've been doing with everything. Freedom of
Right.
information.
There's always somebody else to talk to.
Yep. Always. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just like y'all. I'm so sick of all these things coming back all over again. And Laverne, you said you've been married 29 years, right? I'm going to ask you a question. Your husband ever forced himself on you?
Oh, wow.
In 29 years?
Never.
Okay. And if you ask the real women like yourself that question, you probably get 9 out of 10 of them say no. See, what makes me sick about this marital rape thing, the stats that are being put forward by the group of people that's pushing that, all they're pushing is the word rape. That's all. And let me tell you something, it's very disingenuous. That's why it ain't really getting nowhere. And even if you get it somewhere, that ain't going to change what has happened. It's the laws. The Sexual Offences Act in the Constitution, Article 15, deals with that. And you and Dwight, you all got them computers in the pen, you all pull it up and read it to the nation.
It does not. It does not deal with it. It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It does not.
Get the woman or the spouse out of the house.
In the case,
get them out of the house. Get them to a safe place. And if hold on,
but it already happened by then.
Hold on. We don't address nothing unless it already happened. When something happened, then the police come. Okay? If we can't get those spouses to a safe house, whether it's man or woman, and when we identify this problem, then we are at fault.
No, you are by what you're saying. You are sacrificing somebody. It has already happened. If it happens in the marriage and you have not separated and you have not left, then it doesn't count. That's what it is.
Right.
And 1 out of 10, you think that they should be sacrificed?
See, Dwight, I'm not saying that. That is what you're saying. My argument is get that spouse to a safe place, right? And if anything happens after that, then the law kicks
By
in.
then, if you have to get them to a safe place, it means something already happened.
Yeah, but I mean,
No,
Dwight,
no,
that
yeah, but nothing. What?
Whether you married or not, Dwight, that does happen across the board.
What happens across the board?
The too late happens anywhere.
No, you can't. No. What? Why would you talk like this? Why do you want someone to have to suffer like this?
The argument is a disingenuous argument.
It's not.
If you find an abusive marriage, then we know what we have to do. We know what we have to do. Everybody that's hung up on the word rape. But like I tell you, the Sexual Offences Act, Article 15
Okay,
takes care of that.
listen. No, it doesn't. Listen to what's happening. There are men out there who believe they have the right to do this. They believe that the Bible and spiritual everything covers this, and that they can do whatever they want to their wives.
I don't support that. No way, whether you married or not. I do not support
but
that.
you don't have to support it, but some people do, and that is the problem.
But Dwight, we have to make laws to deal with
That's what we're trying to do with the marital rape.
Stupid people out there, you know.
That's what we're trying
Whether
to
they
do.
married or not, we have stupid people out there.
Yeah, we know this.
But anyway, pull up the article and read it for us, and then we'll see.
That's after the fact. That's after. You're right. It might be only 1 out of 10, but so what? So what?
1 is too many.
That's too many.
1 is too many. And also the Sexual Offences Act that he's referring to, it does speak to sexual offense, but it does not. There's no protection for a husband and wife who are still sharing the same bed. There are conditions to it.
Yeah.
I did a whole thing on this with a lawyer so that we could get an understanding of it. Okay,
People have been doing it for years, and
there is a form of protection, but it does not apply to that spouse, those spouses who are sharing the same bed, living together, sharing that same bed.
Yeah.
There is no protection for the spouse in that context. And so the law does not cover it in its entirety.
All right, this text here for our friend who called earlier who keeps praying for me. They say, I pray to God that the so-called spiritual, uneducated, judgmental caller is in the minority in this blessed country. I don't know if he is the minority, actually. I don't know. And I'm not too sure. I think it's, well, at least it's a very vocal minority, if it is the minority. This person says here, our court system should work on men's rights in divorce and men's rights for their kids. Courts give women too many rights, and fathers have to go through much. Sure, indeed.
Sure. And let's advocate for that as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. There are inequalities and injustices that need to be addressed in this country. And while you support one doesn't mean that you don't support the other. So absolutely.
Oh, look at this. This text is coming in as well. That guy who called earlier, his head is gone. Wow. But sadly, he's still in the majority. These pseudo-Christians say stay making excuses for marital rape, but ain't ever found a verse where Jesus said his bride, the church, has no choice. I thought free will and being able to choose was a fundamental pillar of Christianity. It's always the loudest that think they know or that they are the most correct. We got to stop this thinking in 2023 Bahamas. Yeah, boy. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight, and good morning, Laverne.
Hi, good morning.
My thought on this marital rape to do, right? Persons are looking at this as only this come from abusive home. But marital rape comes from home. You know what I mean? This comes from normal homes. Okay? This comes from the home having the right over her body, where the husband feel like he could at any time he wants. If he stopped looking at this as, like the guy said earlier, if she could just go and just, put her someplace safe. We need to stop looking at this as just abusive husband. We have some normal, not aggressive, but normal persons doing these things. Mainly, I believe, is in the church, where the Christian wife go to church maybe too often for the husband and come home, and he probably out there doing what he chooses to do, and she don't want to give it up as he wants her to. So these are problems where what is happening, what we need to look at, not just abusive home. Normal husband and wife are having these issues. The husband don't have a right to have sex with a wife when he chooses to. You see what I'm saying? And it's happening. And and to her is rape. To him, it's just having it when he wants to. So the Lord needs to step in and put a rest to this. Because this ain't just happening in an abusive home. Yeah. This is happening to normal people every so often, sometimes every day, every night. Wow. And we need to just deal with it and stop discussing it and stop looking for other person to weigh in on it. That's just my take. Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Right, and if people do think it's such a small number, well then, it'll be a small number, right? But we will see. Let's take a break right now. We'll pick this up.
If it's one, Dwight, if it's one, that's one too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if your spouse is forcing himself on you and he's not hitting you or whatever else, it's still abusive and it's not normal. That's an abuser.
Yeah. All right, let's take this call.
His form of violence is just sex.
Let's take this call really quickly, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
My first time calling. I listen a lot.
Welcome.
Yeah. I just want to address something, a statement made that the church should, I'm not saying this exactly it was put this way, but it suggests to say that the church should stay out of this discussion.
Yeah, who said that?
Yeah,
well,
who did?
Well, that's how it sounded, as if that is saying that's the position that is taken. But the church, when the church talks about in the context of the right of the sexual between spouses, to the right to have the privilege of sexual pleasure. The Bible says The spouse should not defraud each other by withholding sexual pleasure. And to do so is actually an offense to God, who designed marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't keep God out of it. We have to be God and the church, which represents God, will be a part of everything that happens in society.
That's fine.
So
Does that
when
mean that you have the right
Lord,
to take it? Because the Bible says that you have the right to force yourself on your spouse.
The Bible never said that.
Right.
The Bible says you have no right to deny your partner, nor does the partner have a right to force himself on you. That would be... So let's get that right.
Uh-huh. And if you do force yourself, what then?
The law already calls that a crime.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
I think this law that...
It is not about you think. It doesn't. In the Bahamas, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's the issue. Right? How many years does it take for us to get that straight? It doesn't.
Right.
You have to be separated. You have to move out of the house. And he has to come, or she, come after you and still do it. Only then.
Or if you're even in separate bedrooms, if you know, because sometimes for financial reasons, you have not moved out. But for all intents and purposes, you're living separate lives, you're in separate bedrooms. Then it's a crime, right? But if you two are sharing the same bed, you have not separated in any way, and your spouse comes home at whatever point, and you're saying, no, I do not want to do this, and they force themselves on you, there is no protection for you.
Yeah.
As the law is right now.
All right, let's take a break. We'll pick this up on the other side. This is Morning Blend. It's amazing how many years it's been taking for people to tell this. But folks aren't getting it, and it's really scary. But we'll talk more after the break. Stay with us.
Always tell me that's a step too far. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry?
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Oh, wow! What's that under the Christmas tree? Up to $1,000 cash back for you and me? 10 lucky customers get a chance to win up to $1,000 cash back this Christmas just for spending $60 and over with their Scotiabank credit card in-store or online. That's up to $1,000 cash back to spend on gifts, gas, groceries, and more this Christmas. Visit bs.scotiabank.com for more information. Promotion ends January 28, 2023. Conditions apply.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Banquet fidelity, it's good for you and me. It means a lot to own a lot in paradise. Yeah, beautiful islands for you to choose. Come and get advice to live in paradise. Lot loans with fidelity, we're good for you.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send picture direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas. Then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
The new Guardian Radio app is here. Listen live to all our Guardian Radio shows and live video stream select programs in our studio. Get information about Guardian Radio shows and our hosts. Send messages, including text, email, and even call. All from our amazing new Guardian Radio app. Download it free today in your App Store for your Apple device or Play Store for your Android device. The all-new and improved Guardian Radio app.
Click and pay, merchant serve, debit, credit, and debit card, that's the way it should be. Mobile and fixed terminal and online banking too. E-commerce and pay button is waiting for you. Fidelity, we good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We're going to break for news in just a second and get into Morning Blend business. We're going to be talking with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association about the car market in the country. But just want to read through these text messages really quickly before we go. Laverne, brace yourself. This person says, I don't agree with marital rape. Okay. And I condemn any man that supports it. Well, they certainly don't say it like that, but sure. I also think there should be a law against marital theft. Wives should not be stealing money out of their husbands' wallets either. Okay. Pretty sure you could. Right? You could go to. I bet you could get your wife arrested over marital theft quicker than a marital rape thing. No? Laverne, what do you think about that? I think,
isn't that stealing?
Right? It's plain old stealing. The law definitely covers that one. If you didn't want them to do it, yeah. But okay. Yeah, I don't know who told you have to sit back and take that. But anyway, the only thing I don't like is another text. The only thing I don't like about this marital rape thing is that it seems that nothing happens to the woman if she's found to be lying. Well, it hasn't. We haven't had anybody before. So how do we know this? But okay. This one says here, it's important that we also take into account the emotional aspect of the female and not focus only on the physical part. A woman has to be emotionally prepared in order to have sexual pleasure. The male has no right to force himself on his wife just to fulfill his selfish gratification. This one says here, these leaders aren't serious about their job. If we put you there to do the job and make laws and amend the laws, do it. Yes, you can consult with the spiritual leaders, but don't hang up on decision-making because women are being hurt. Some women are being hurt and abused in these relationships. Oh, and men just don't like to hear, no, I'm a man, that's hard, but I never force myself on her. Okay. Another one says here, the Bible also says people who mix clothing material are an abomination. Nobody has a problem ignoring that, though. When it comes to controlling others, these monsters know every verse to justify their actions. Bibles say, red flag. Oh, well, boy. And then this one says here, this traditional family that is always spoken about has us the way we are. Women were always objects to men. Back then, Mama knew Papa was doing all kinds of things to her and the children, but she would go to her grave with that. That's why your cousin is your brother. Well, okay. And oh boy. And this one says, these text messages and calls show just how ingrained and accepted violence is in this country. We have tons of work to do going forward. Indeed. We'll take this one final call very quickly. We've got to go. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, morning. How are you?
Doing well.
And good morning to everyone. I hope I have enough time to engage. I want to give my 2 cents on this marital rape thing.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I do not agree with rape, generally. I don't believe in it. I think it's wrong. But two things in particular with this, the narrative that this is going. One is that it seems to be just a one-sided thing, whereas everything is the man raping the woman, or the husband raping the wife. I'm speaking generally, man raping the woman. And there's also the part where there's never a concern where there's no narrative where a woman could rape her husband or a woman could rape a man. It's one-sided.
It's covering all sides. That's the one that's brought up the most by people, but it would cover everybody.
Okay, here's my thing.
It says spouse.
Yeah.
We are in the books to deal with these things.
No, you don't.
Mind you, again, I do not agree with it.
You do not have
laws. What I'm saying is, if the rape is in the law. You
cannot rape your wife. You cannot rape your husband in the Bahamas.
Allow me to explain what I'm saying. If it's a relationship that is not a husband and wife, a man forced himself on a woman, she has to go and report it. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And when she reported, there still has to be an investigation. They have to go to court and still have to be proven. Okay, that's a man and a woman, not husband and wife.
Yep.
It's the same thing with husband and wife.
It is not.
Allow me to explain myself.
It doesn't matter what you think. It is not the case.
My point is, Dwight, is that if it happens in a marital home, the woman should go and report rape to the police.
And she will be laughed out of the station. There's nothing they can do. It is not the case.
It goes to the point, Dwight, where it still has to be reported. It still has to be investigated and taken to court.
It won't be
proven in court. If a man and a woman, they still have to go to court and be proven, as they always say. Rapists always have to prove. Same thing with a husband and wife.
We'll have to get some. We got to go. And I appreciate your call because you're proving to me that we need to have a lawyer on every week to talk about this. You're confused. That is not the case. And if that's so, what do you think we've been doing this for all these years for? It's not the case. We just had that case a few weeks ago where the judge said, I cannot rule on this. You know that because in the law, legally, a man cannot rape his wife. That's what the wife was saying. It felt like she was being raped. But they were granted the divorce based on cruelty. But it couldn't be based on rape. We're going to have to do this very often, it seems. Well, it's good to know where we are, and consultation might actually be needed, Laverne, much more, because people just aren't getting it. They're believing what they want to believe. And clearly he sees that it's wrong, that it can happen, but can't understand that our law does not recognize that at the moment. As long as you're married, and as long as it happened in the marital bed, in the marital home, and you weren't separated, and you weren't divorced or divorcing, and you didn't happen at your cousin's house where you were staying, the law does not see it. We've got a big problem here. I think these people do get it, but they're thinking other things. Anyway, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that hopefully before this conference in March that the minister was talking about. We've got a break, though. When we come back, the auto industry in the Bahamas, how are things looking now? That's coming up right after the news headlines. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning, business, on this Thursday, January 12th, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning, we are talking about the auto sector, the automobile industry in the Bahamas. And very pleased to have with us again from the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association, Ben Albury. Ben Albury, good morning. Great to have you with us. Happy New Year. Oh, but did we lose him? Oh, boy. Okay. We'll reconnect. He was there. And we're going to connect with him right now. Let's do that. And take a quick break, and then be back with Ben Albury. We're going to be talking about the sector now, if things have recovered from where they were during the last year, 2022, which was a very difficult one all over the world, and what the outlook is for 2023 and beyond. We'll talk with Ben Albury with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association in just a bit. Is he back with us now? Yes. Laverne, you're there, right? Did we lose everybody?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
He's connecting. I think Ben is on now. Yeah,
Okay,
it looks
there we
like
go.
he's connected.
Okay. Ben Albury, Happy New Year, sir. Great to have you with us.
Same to you, sir. Same to you. And Happy New Year. How's everything going?
Going well, going well. All right, so the last time you were here was very doom and gloom, a very gloomy picture. There's so much uncertainty last year about what was going on with the auto sector, and we talked about it. There were lots with no cars. Some dealers had nothing, and we had no idea. We couldn't say when things were going to get any better. But clearly, it's a different story now. We are seeing the cars back on the lots. Tell us what we're looking at. What exactly is happening right now?
Right now, Dwight, things are loosening up a little bit on the supply chains. In certain markets, in the U.S. market, from what I'm seeing, they're still sending out notices that they're expecting long delays and, shipping costs and price increases. So there still are some challenges, but there is some loosening. I'm seeing more flow, especially from the Asian markets. But in the U.S., I think that they're still trying to replenish the U.S. supply before they focus on the other markets.
Oh, boy. So still delays. Okay, so what's accounting for it now? Is it just demand, or are we still seeing shipping issues and the chip issue? Is that still continuing?
Yeah, demand is robust. We're getting a lot of interest. We're getting a lot of traffic. It seems like financing is starting to loosen up a little bit as well. So those are all good indicators. Now we're just hoping that the supply will continue to steadily improve. The BMDA as a whole did see an improvement last year in total volume, which is very encouraging.
Okay, tell us more about that. What do you mean by that in total volume? Despite the challenges?
We record and share our sales data, and the data that we have so far. We're still waiting on 2 dealers, I believe, to report the final numbers from last year. But even without those 2 being in presently, we're still showing an improvement overall over last year.
Ben, are you seeing good morning. Are you seeing an increase in the request or desire for people to purchase electric or hybrid vehicles? Or just more, they're still sticking with the traditional?
Well, the traditional is still the majority of the market, but yes, there has been an increased interest in hybrid and in electric.
All right, so since we went there already, let's talk about it. Interest from the public, or are the dealers interested in getting there as well? Are they? Because right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's only a couple who are selling hybrids at all, even though they're the manufacturers. Many of them do, and we only have one electric dealer. But let's talk about that. Who's showing the interest? Is everybody on board with this?
Well, that's a little more complex of a question. Some people, I do have more people inquiring about the technology, especially the hybrid. I think hybrid, for some people, it's a little bit easier for them to get into, but there definitely is some interest, or quite a bit of interest as well, in the electric. But a lot of the manufacturers are slow with providing some of the electric technology to us, to many of the dealers. Number one, because it's a much more expensive technology, and then number two, it does require additional training and additional tools. Electric vehicle is not something that just anybody can go and fiddle with, so there is certain protocols that need to be in place if you're going to sell electric and sell it effectively and safely.
The training. So I know that there are people who are going out on their own and buying hybrid and plug-in hybrid and electric vehicles from the same manufacturers that you all sell, whose vehicles you sell. So when they import that vehicle and they do need to see a technician, are your people currently trained to handle that if you don't sell electrics or hybrids now? What does that consumer have to do?
I do sell hybrids presently, and I can work on hybrids. As far as electric is concerned, I do not have any training or any tools whatsoever to work on full. If somebody were to purchase an electric on one of the brands that I sell and bring it in, then they would basically, I don't know, they would have to find a way in order to do any type of repair or diagnostics on that vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Are you able to do any work at all on a vehicle like that? Minor work?
Maybe a brake change or something like that. But as far as getting into the electrical system, you're dealing with a very, 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 very high voltage. So it's something that if you do not know what you're doing or you don't have the proper tools, it could be life-threatening, even tampering with one, because you are dealing with extremely high voltage in that case.
So are the dealers looking at getting the training, getting their technicians and mechanics out there for that type of training, as we are likely to see more of these type vehicles soon?
Well, yeah, as it's made available, in my case, as it's made available, yes, we would look more into that. But it's a matter of the manufacturer deeming that they would begin to supply it in this region. A lot of it is still newer technology, and I think that they're looking at sustainability here. They're also looking at the fact that they have lithium batteries and they're up to date. There is nowhere in the Bahamas to properly dispose of a lithium battery. There's no recycling stations. There's nothing like that you can go to. And so these batteries are just being chucked in a landmine somewhere, or in the landfill, I should say. Whereas if I have a lithium battery that needs to be replaced, because of that, the manufacturer actually makes me crate that battery and ship that battery back to them. Now, I don't think that's the standard for all manufacturers, but because they know that we do not have is part of a hindrance as well.
Wow. Okay. I want to ask you about this. One of your association dealers, I don't know if they were supposed to tell me this, but somebody there informed me that, as I was asking about a certain type of vehicle sold by the same manufacturer in other parts of the world, and asking if we'll ever get it here, and if they would bring it in for me or something like that. And they told me that probably not, and that the manufacturer doesn't want to sell this type of vehicle here because of concerns about our fuel quality and uncertainty about the octane level and And so that's why some of the cars that we see that are popular in elsewhere, including the U.S. right over there, they don't come here. Is that the case? And what is the BMDA saying about that to the fuel wholesalers? Why don't we get the information about the octane level and the quality of the fuel?
That's been an ongoing point for a very long time. We have had meetings. The BMDA actually has paid in the past to have fuel testing done. In previous meetings, basically it was explained that, I asked the same question. I said, in the U.S., when I pull up to a pump, I see 87, 93. I have a choice, and I can decide which octane level is best for my vehicle. And basically, from what I understand, there's no mandate here in the Bahamas. There's no regulation that requires them to report the quality of the fuel. Because we have seen, as in the BMDA situations in the past, where all of a sudden I'll come to work on a Tuesday and there'll be 5 or 6 cars in here with fuel-related issues. I'll call a fellow dealer, and 7 cars come in this morning with fuel-related issues, call another dealer. So sometimes you may even have bad batches that may run through. And, the cars nowadays are a lot more sensitive to the quality of the fuel as those start to become more the norm in other markets. So that is something that's been it's been something of concern for a very long time.
And what are the fuel companies saying? Are they?
Well, basically, they're not mandated to show that. So I don't know if it's going to be something where it's just going to get to a point one day where they're going to have to do something because there's going to be that many issues or that many people that will not be able to rely on their fuel, and whether that'll bring it up or whether the government at some point will step in and put some sort of regulation there in order to govern what can and can't be sold, or if it is sold, it should be listed as to what you're purchasing.
Yeah. So obviously the government, it's been years, as you said, they're not putting any pressure on them. What should we do as consumers? Is there something we can do?
Yeah, I guess you could. I guess that you could speak to your member of parliament or speak to the consumer affairs or somebody like that, or Better Business Bureau, and say, look, I want to know what I'm purchasing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you coming in here and me throwing a towel over or a sheet over a car and saying, this is the price, buy it.
Right.
What am I buying? So to me, I think it's something that needs to be looked at. It needs to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to the numbers. And we, every year, come January, we hear from all over the world, these are the best-selling cars in Japan. We don't normally get that here. Is there a reason for that? And are you able to provide information like that?
Sorry, the beginning of what you said, I lost. I'm sorry.
I was saying that normally at this time of year, we hear from other countries what the best-selling models were for the previous year as all the numbers come out. I know you said you're still waiting on a couple of dealers for their information. But what we don't ever hear, like, this is the best-selling car in the Bahamas, a new car, the best-selling imported car. Do you have that information? And
it's not something that we do have, Dwight. We have talked about further refining some of our reporting. The reporting that we do is really not mandated. It's just something that we got together as an association. One thing I'm always proud of with our association is that the members are very happy to assist each other. In most cases, they're very willing to share information. So this is data that we've compiled over the years, looking at it brand by brand. So we have discussed possibly in the future breaking it down further, more into model or even into segment. But as it stands right now, it's only reported by brand.
Okay. All right. So if we make a little request here, is it possible that going forward that could be a thing that we get the list?
I think it's very possible, and I think that's a good point and something that we could definitely discuss at our next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that doesn't come before you, but it would be good to know the most frequently imported vehicles as well. Yeah. All right, so
we're also asking. Statistics says that they also compile certain information. I was at an IDB meeting the other day, and they were speaking to that. So I think that that's something that the government's also starting to look at. And they have a very good tool to do that, too, through road traffic and also, which that could not only show us what the most popular models and brands are that are sold by dealers, but also through imports of individuals as well.
Absolutely. All right. So new cars is not the only thing that you dealers make money off of, but also parts. And we know that is parts are very expensive. It's expensive in the Bahamas.
That's the point that I wanted to discuss this morning, too. If there was something that, I think in speaking with the other dealers, that's something that we would like to see the government look at is the import duty on parts. In ways that might be able to be reduced. Right now, the conditions of the roads in a lot of places are pretty poor, and, people are having to replace shocks and tires and, different suspension parts and stuff like that. And it would be a big relief, I think, to the dealers and to the consumers if they were to look at the import duty on auto parts, and it would encourage people, or I shouldn't say encourage, but allow people the ability to be able to maintain their vehicles and keep them more roadworthy. We've seen a lot of traffic fatalities, every year, and, that might be something that could help to curb that.
Mm-hmm. Give us an idea of the duties right now on most of the parts. What are we looking at now?
Well, it ranges depending on the part, but it could go anywhere from 45 to 75%.
My goodness.
Depending on what the part is classified as.
And that's not including the VAT, of course.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's also a hindrance on the dealers, because if you went to a dealer in the States, they probably have $50,000 worth of parts in stock because they can usually get parts from a centralized warehouse within 24 hours, whereas here, we represent multi-branded. They have to be in order to survive. And we have to keep extremely high stock levels of parts in order to try to satisfy the customer in a timely manner. Because if I had to get an ocean freight parts order from Japan, it could take up to 3 months to have that order filled and have that shipment delivered. So we keep ridiculous amounts or high levels of parts, and that would allow us to be able to stock more parts at the same amount of money.
Yeah. I don't know if you see it this way, but I say that, this issue with the parts and the duties and the cost is what is driving up the crime rates, because unfortunately unscrupulous people are stealing other vehicles to get the parts off them.
They have a shopping list and they go out and they fulfill that list. That's a very good point. And that's also one of the points that we had stressed to the government initially when they were looking at right-hand drive imports. KPMG did a comprehensive study which we presented to the government showing, not what they thought would happen, but what is proven to happen in other countries that do have very high levels of Japanese and right-hand drive imports is that parts become an issue, and then there's a very robust black market, and then it also starts to affect insurance cost or the ability to insure the vehicle because people may have a minor accident and not be able to get the parts and dump it, or they may need some parts and you may have a guy that can go out in the night and get them for you. So it's not something that's surprising.
Right. Well, so has been any movement with the government when you have these discussions with them?
No, step was to reduce the age, to 10 years that people could import. I think that was a big help. But that was the last thing that we really saw happen in that area, as well as the inspection process that now takes place prior to the vehicles leaving Japan. But, the government at some point may want to look at maybe further reducing maybe to 7 years or, to try to keep the vehicles on the road a little newer. I mean, the market is already generating used cars on a daily basis. But we do import a very, very, very high level used vehicles.
Wow, that's going to be very controversial to a lot of people. 7 years? Because they're finding it very restrictive now with the 10 years. Why do you think that would be better? Explain that.
Well, I think that it would bring, the vehicles would be a lot more current. And as a matter of fact, after 10 years, in a lot of cases, parts availability starts to decline. But, not any first world countries that I'm aware of import majority of their vehicles imported are used cars. I think it would be nice to try to look at ways to make new or newer vehicles more affordable for the average Bahamian, so that it doesn't have to become a situation where you have to buy a 10-year-old car because that's all that you can afford to drive.
Right. Wow. You mentioned the Japanese market vehicles. It seems to, I don't know if it's the right word, but it seems like they've flooded the market here. What challenges are these presenting for you, the dealers? Because I know people are coming to you all often for parts, but some of these don't match up with the vehicles that you sell here. Talk about that situation and what that does for you.
Well, I do sell Japanese vehicles. What I do in my situation is I try to bring in vehicles that I know are most in line with what I can get parts for. Unfortunately, there's a lot of side-of-the-road dealers and a lot of individuals who go online and may not know the specifics, because when you're looking at a Japanese domestic vehicle, in a lot of cases, they're unique to that market. So they'll make an export model, which they'll export to Caribbean, third world, South American countries. They'll make a Japanese domestic market. Some will make a U.S. model. And what a lot of people don't realize, in a lot of cases, each model can be very different from the other. So just because you buy it and they sell it somewhere else doesn't mean that what you're buying is identical, and that also can create challenges. Or I've seen people import vehicles that they were unaware required a certain quality of fuel, as you were mentioning earlier, which is not available here. And then that vehicle, say over a 12-month period, will just basically start to have continuous issues until it just becomes something that you can't continue to repair or upkeep.
My goodness. Wow. You wasted there, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
So what advice would you give to a consumer who is considering importing by themselves without...
I would definitely ask them, or my advice to them would be to do their research, do their homework, and just be sure before they purchase, try to find out as much as they can about the model, and also try to look around at home, try to look around maybe at places that sell vehicles here, especially somewhere that may offer some sort of warranty, because I have seen other cases where people import a vehicle, wait 3 months for it to get here. They get here and then they come to the dealer and they say, hey, I want to buy a used car from you. I just imported one from Japan and it won't go in reverse. Or, the transmission slipping, or, it has these issues, or an engine knock or whatever, and they have no recourse. So that also creates another opportunity where people have to end up dumping the vehicle or putting it on the side of the road somewhere, or, and just leaving it.
Right. Wow. We are talking with Ben Albury with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to talk more about the trends that we're seeing in the industry here in the Bahamas and globally. And more, we get your questions in as well. You can text us 422-4796 or call in a little bit later, 325-4316. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Ready to save? You can put 100 Fresh Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Tokyo is calling, and your Scotiabank MasterCard could take you there. For every transaction valued $100 or more with your Scotiabank MasterCard, you receive a digital entry for a chance to win a priceless experience for two in Tokyo, Japan. Online or overseas transactions will double your chance to win. Promotion valid from December 16th, 2022 to January 13th, 2023. Conditions apply. For more information, visit bs.scotiabank.com.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
Do all of your banking with Fidelity. Quality service is what they give to you and me. A strong management team is waiting to serve you. Come and bank with Fidelity too. Come do all of your banking with Fidelity. Quality service is what they give to you and me. A strong management team is waiting to serve you. So bank with Fidelity, we're good for you.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The Ministry of Finance says that its new Customs Electronic Data Interchange, the EDI system, which allows customs brokers to electronically submit all their documents, that seeks to reduce the more than $50 million in revenue leakage, which occurs each year. In a statement, the ministry says that the two platforms that brokers and individuals importing items have been directed to use to submit customs documents are free. The ministry was responding following accusations levied against the government by the F&M that the new system, which was integrated on January 3rd, added extra cost to brokers who were being charged a fee that would, as a result, increase the cost of importing goods for the average Bahamian using their services. The statement says that EDI submissions, while reducing revenue-losing errors, are also quicker, which means that the importer can get his goods released by customs much faster. Read more on this in today's Guardian Business section. The Bahamas Public Service Union and the Airport Authority signing a 3-year industrial agreement 8 years after the expiration of the last agreement. BPSU President Kimsley Ferguson says that the new agreement is already in the works, with negotiations to begin before the expiration of the current agreement, so that an inordinate amount of time does not elapse between agreements again. Ferguson explained that while the union did not get everything it wanted, the conclusion of the negotiations is good for Airport Authority workers. And driven by rising fuel prices, the value of imported goods to the Caribbean increased by 20%. However, for the Bahamas, the value was higher at 30%. That's according to the Economic Commission for Latin America, released this week. This is the fourth highest value increase in the Caribbean region, behind only Jamaica at 39%, the Dominican Republic at 32%, and Trinidad and Tobago at 31%. The value increase was driven by the regional rise in prices of 14%, set against a volume that only increased by 6%. Overseas, rising U.S. consumer prices moderated again last month, bolstering hopes that inflation's grip on the economy will continue to ease this year and possibly require less drastic action by the Federal Reserve to control it. Inflation declined to 6.5% in December compared with a year earlier, according to the U.S. government. It was the sixth straight year-over-year slowdown, down from 7.1% in November. On a monthly basis, prices actually slipped 0.1% from November to December, the first such drop since May 2020. The softer readings add to growing signs that the worst inflation in 4 decades is gradually waning. Still, the U.S. Federal Reserve doesn't expect inflation to slow enough to get close to its 2% target until well into 2024. The central bank is expected to raise its benchmark rate by at least a quarter point when it meets next at the end of this month. And from China, Auto sales rose 9.5% last year as electric vehicle purchases nearly doubled, but demand in the global industry's biggest market slumped in December, foreshadowing weaker growth this year. Sales of SUVs, sedans, and minivans rose to 23.6 to the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers. Total vehicle sales, including trucks and buses, edged up 2.1% to 26.9 million. In December, sales fell 6.7% from a year earlier to 2.3 million as consumer spending weakened under pressure from anti-virus restrictions that kept millions of people at home and an economic slowdown caused by tighter controls on corporate debt. Total vehicle sales fell 8.4% to 2.6 million. The association also forecast steady growth this year, but said annual sales might rise only 3%. The economy is rebounding following the ruling Communist Party's surprise decision to lift anti-virus controls on travel and business, but the recovery is expected to be rocky as China copes with a surge in infections and weakening U.S. and European demand for its exports. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday, your market movers. Colina Holdings moving 1,000 shares, closing unchanged at 853. Consolidated Water unchanged at 286. Emira Incorporated unchanged at 921. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,645.57 unchanged. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And we're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And we're going to get to some sales projections in a little bit, but I know you're having challenges with the supply. But are buying? Are we still on the SUV craze? Are we still all going gaga for crossovers?
SUVs and trucks are still very, very strong segment. I think what I've seen personally, too, is the commercial line has been bust, which to me is a good indicator. You know, a lot of construction going on, as well as I think a lot of the companies that have increased delivery options, as well as a lot of their fleets may have aged some and been stretched a little further during COVID. And now that there's a little more confidence in the market as far as that's concerned, many of them are expanding or updating their commercial fleet as well.
Yeah. Well, and
Ben, I know you mentioned earlier that the majority of the dealerships, if not all, are multi-brand. Have you ever encountered where a brand says, well, no, we want to sell you, if you're going to sell our cars, it has to be exclusive?
Well, yeah, if I'm understanding your question, we are the exclusive market. But, you know, in the States, you can represent, say, one brand. Say if you had a Honda or Toyota, Nissan, whatever dealership, you know, you may potentially sell 300, 400, 500 cars a year. Whereas here, that may be more than one dealer may sell in total, per month. Whereas here, it may take a dealer an entire year and not sell 300 or 400 vehicles. So here, we usually have to be, or it's preferential to be multi-branded, where we can get permission from several brands and allow us to let them coexist to some degree. In most cases, they'll want some sort of separation or some sort of brand identity, so that at least when people come in the showroom, they have some idea that this section is for this brand and this section is for the other. But that's been if I was not a multi-branded dealer, especially going through the challenges that we went through and are still going through with supply chains, we definitely would have been closed by now. And what I mean by that is, you know, 1 month I may get a shipment that breaks free from Chrysler. The next month, maybe I'll get a nice order come through from Mitsubishi. Maybe they'll free up some product. So that's been very important. You know, a lot of the consumers I've seen coming around in a lot of cases are not really always buying what they want. In some cases, they're buying the closest thing that they can find to that. So having multi-brands has definitely been a major positive for the most dealerships here on the island.
To what extent are consumers here determining what they're going to buy based on the fuel prices? I know in other parts of the world, when the price goes up, people start buying smaller vehicles. If you look around the streets, I don't know if that's the case here, but does it seem to make a difference with new car buyers?
You know, in some cases, it seems to make the biggest difference to the people who can afford it. You know, it's crazy. I'll get somebody coming in here looking at $100,000 car, but they're asking me about fuel economy. You know, so or based on their concerns of the price of fuel. But you know, I think there is concerns always, but I think that we're used to living in an environment where the fuel prices are typically high. It's just a matter if they're high or higher. You know, so I do have people asking, I do have people inquiring, and I think that that's where a lot of people are settling sometimes for smaller, more economical engines. But, you know, you do have a lot of people that it just doesn't seem to really affect.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's very interesting. Again, we're talking with Ben Albury with the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association. Must be nice, eh? Wow. Yeah. If you have any questions, give us a call, 325-4316, or text us 422-4796. Got a couple of questions here. Somebody's saying, what about, what now? Wait, what? I don't think this is for you. Could this be? First-class public-private bus system, which allows the car dealers and the bus franchisors and the public to invest in. Then we can immediately increase the GDP and improve the lives and lower the income of... Huh? Do you understand this? What about a first-class public-private bus system which allows the car dealers and the bus franchises to invest in, and the public to invest in? Have you ever heard someone propose that before? Not necessarily with listing car dealers as being investors, but yeah, I mean, I think we've all heard discussions on ways that the public transportation system can be improved from a reliability, from a safety, from a number of different aspects. You know, in a lot of countries, especially first world countries, public transportation is widely used and you know, very reliable, and something that a lot of people utilize, especially in cities like ours that is probably a little, little overpopulated or densely populated, I should say. So, you know, I think that's something that a lot of people would like to see at some point is more streamlining of that service. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Hello, Dwight. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? Just wanted to give you guys some late breaking news about these electric car batteries. Now, the battery packs have been recycled into solar systems for the past, I would say, 7-8 years. Now, when you look at an electric car battery pack, it's actually about 600-700 pounds, but it's made up of smaller batteries, or what we call battery modules or cells. Now, these can be extracted and implemented in solar systems, and so that there's no need for these battery packs to end up on any landfill, because they find a new as power backup systems for solar systems. And so, you know, if we really need to see a good example of a landfill, just go onto Soldier Road and look north, close to by the Superwash, and you will see stacks and stacks of these gas cars polluting the environment. All right, so just wanted to set the record straight on how EVs are recyclable, they last longer, and of course, they're the best answer for a green environment.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Ben Albury, I mean, everybody's telling us that is the future. That's how it's going to be. Countries around the world are giving deadlines as to when manufacturers need to stop selling ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles. What are we seeing and hearing here in the Bahamas? I know you mentioned infrastructure earlier, but what does the future look like here 10, 20 years from now? Do you think we will all be driving EVs, or will there always be a market for ICE vehicles?
Definitely not. I think in the future, and it is something that the government is already looking at with the IDB and with Deloitte and Touche, is eventually increasing the amount of electric vehicles here. But electric vehicles will not be the answer here or anywhere else in the world in its totality. There's already proof and evidence that it would be impossible to mine enough lithium and cobalt and all the other necessary materials for everybody to go electric, as well as electric would not necessarily be the best choice in many cases as far as hauling big loads. You see Tesla is now trying to make some improvements, but there could be hydrogen, there could be hybrid, but I think that right now there's a lot of hype behind electric, but it definitely, there'll be, I believe, multiple solutions with electric definitely having a place in that. The gentleman made a very good point. Yes, batteries can be used in solar farms. Unfortunately, the average Bahamian, when they go to chuck a battery, they don't think about if it's lithium or not, or how can I go and take this somewhere and give it to somebody to use for solar. But that is a very good point, that could be one of the solutions. But as usual, we usually do things kind of backwards. The batteries that are mined in a lot of cases involve slave labor. The electric vehicle requires a lot of petroleum to make certain parts for it. There's a number of other factors. Once the vehicle gets here, we're still using bunker C diesel in 95% of the cases to charge those vehicles. So I think that as we start to move more towards electric and hybrid, I think that what we need to see is improvements on how we generate our energy, whether it be through wind, solar, maybe a combination of both, so that we're not burning bunker C to charge your green vehicle. As we all know, bunker C is very toxic. It's one of the lowest grades of fuel that can be utilized now, and not everybody is going to have the ability to put solar on their house in order to charge their vehicle. So hopefully, as we start to move towards that, we'll see, BPL or look at other ways that they can generate electricity so that it is actually a clean form of energy, rather than just hooking up to your house and burning a diesel generator to charge that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see, a proper recycling or disposal for those batteries available, instead of just saying, yes, they can be used for solar, but not everybody's going to know somebody to give them to utilize them for that. So I think it would be good to have a recycling plant or some sort of proper disposal facility in the future.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about your company, Bahamas Bus and Truck. You sell a lot of Chrysler vehicles, and the company that owns Chrysler, Stellantis, is committing to EVs and big percentages they're saying they want to have by 2024, 2025. That's pretty soon. So do you have the vehicles you're going to be selling, is that mapped out already for the next 2, 3, 4 years? Do you know what you will be getting?
No, that's probably going to be utilized first in more of the Asian, European, and North American markets. And then we'll see it slowly trickle more and more down here.
Mm-hmm. So we're still about 10 years off, you think?
Yeah, I've been given promises after promises to when more and more electric vehicles, as well as a lot of the other dealers here, as to when that availability will start to increase. There are other dealers now that are selling, an electric vehicle here, an electric model there, but it's still lagging way behind other first world countries.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you also have the issue too, Dwight, if you lived in Cat Island, or if you lived in, one of the more remote islands, there's still going to be a demand for gas engines for quite a long time, because of the technology required to repair and to work on those vehicles, the proper tools. I mean, they have challenges in those islands, even with a normal combustion gears, much less some of that newer technology.
Let's talk a little more about that, the Family Islands and Grand Bahama. Laverne is in Grand Bahama. What are you noticing there? Your numbers include sales figures for those?
Well, right now, there's not really that I'm aware of many new car dealers in Freeport. We used to have a sub dealer there, Jet Wash. They're non-existent anymore. So I think that what you're seeing is incorporated in our numbers are the dealers that are shipping to Freeport from Nassau. And then, like I said, of course, you have a lot of people that do their own importation as well.
Oh, okay. I've got a couple more text messages here, winding down and running out of time. This person says here, oh boy, one of the biggest problems with the right-hand drive Japanese vehicle owners is that a high percentage of those owners, this is not good, can't even afford simple oil and filter changes for those cars. Okay, I don't know how you know that, texter, but is it that they can't afford or they just choose not to do it? I don't know if you have any insight into this.
My personal opinion, Dwight, is, people usually, Bahamians always find a way to locate money for what they want to locate it for.
Right.
So... that I don't see any short lines at the number houses or at the liquor stores or at other places the malls or Kelly's or wherever they may want to shop and go. So I think in a lot of cases it's just a matter of getting the average person to understand the importance of maintenance, the importance of changing the oil. We used to have a sign here at the business that used to say, change your oil or change your engine. It's your choice.
Oh boy! Wow.
I think it's and a lot of the people with the right-hand drive vehicles, we call them. There's a word we use for them. It's sort of the solo cup syndrome, where it's in a lot of cases being bought with the idea, hey, if I could get 2 or 3 years out of this, and then chuck it and get something else, and that'll be okay. So that's sort of the dangerous part. That market has opened up as well, is that it's normally meant to be a bridge and not really meant to be any type of permanent solution. I'm sure if somebody went and had to borrow money or did borrow some money to purchase a vehicle, hopefully they would hopefully take a little more love and interest in that vehicle than just something that they go into with the mindset that it's only going to have a very short life.
Mm-hmm. Back to the batteries, I'm saying here, I find it so amazing that lithium batteries are not brought up and demonized when it comes to cell phones and tablets and laptops. Is that the case? Are people
No, I mean, I don't think it's the case at all, but, a lot of people are ignorant to the amount of weight, the size of the batteries that it takes to, for example, I just saw a mid-sized plane that they were testing, doing some ground testing. They said it had 9,000 pounds of batteries on that vehicle, in that plane. The other side, which a lot of people, which I would like to see done here again, talking about putting things in the wrong order. Lithium batteries are extremely explosive. Lithium fires are something that require proper tools and proper training in order to mitigate, in order to put out a fire. And as a matter of fact, lithium fires that are put out can still reignite days later, even after they have been put out. In some areas, in some parts of the world, you even see people putting signs in parking garages saying that you can't park electric vehicles in a parking garage in case of that same situation. Or if, heaven forbid, if you were to have a major collision, a major accident, those batteries can ignite. And if our fire department does not have the proper training, the proper tools, that fire can be an extremely, extremely dangerous prospect. So, yeah, I'm not demonizing. I'm not putting down lithium. Lithium is what we have right now, and lithium is what we can work with. I'm just saying that I think that we need to look at it starting from the beginning, going forward, and not really starting at the end and going backwards, if that makes any sense to you.
Well, final minute here. So What I know it's early, but what are we looking at this year? A better year than last? Does that depend on the supply issues being sorted out? What is the early estimate on how this year is going to pan out?
Well, I'm a hopeless optimist. I'm always optimistic. I feel like I have to be, and I feel like we've been doing this a long time, and we've seen waves come and go. I think that we have a good year ahead of us, at least in the next 12 months. As we see things start to slow down in the U.S., I think we're going to see hopefully some inflation come in line. Hopefully some of the supply chains start to come in line. And I think the Bahamas, as the U.S. fears that it's going to starting or probably has started to slip into some sort of recession, I think that we are a little more insulated, at least in the short term, because of the type of investors that we have here, because of the type of projects that we see going on, which are backed by companies that are a little more insulated from changes in the market, as well as the type of tourists that we attract. The Bahamas is not an inexpensive place to come and visit. We attract a lot of people that come here to gamble or to come on the yacht or to, stay in a very nice hotel. And I think it's going to be some time before they really start to feel that impact, and it starts to show here. Our tourist numbers are still very robust, and I just hope and pray that we can maintain that at least for the upcoming year.
Yeah. Well, good luck to all of you there. Ben Albury, thank you so much for being with us this morning from the Bahamas Motor Dealers Association. Great talking with you as always.
Thank you. Nice pleasure having me, and welcome. Be happy to come back anytime. Thanks.